Okay, mate. So I'm just finished my biomechanics exam, which is why I'm in the mode of drawing diagrams and doing all that sort of stuff. But I just want to discuss box squat with you because I know you've been using barbell to load it up, and that's not a problem at all. But this will be a helpful way for you to understand what's actually happening, so that when you're pulling up sore or if you're feeling like pushing a little bit more, this is sort of something you should keep in mind anyway. So it's a pretty crude little diagram here, but here's our box, here's you, and here's the barbell on the back of your shoulders. And it's really, really simple to think about. I'll use the one there. So obviously we're moving up and down. The box is acting as your depth marker, so you know how low to go to. Now this is great, especially when we're using it as a sort of a tap and go. So you're really, really only coming into very light contact with the box. Now there's a method of box squats where you really sit all the way back into it and then get back up again, and that can be a little bit problematic if the weight's too much. So you've got to think of the forces that are being sort of applied in this. So obviously we're coming down into it, and it's Newton's third law, which is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if we're putting that force in the box, that box is going to put that force back into us, which is creating it. So what happens here is that the barbell isn't affected really, because that's just adding weight to us. It's our structure that is. So what can happen, and you'll see it quite a bit as lower back here, we'll say, is that it hits the box, you've got your spine is already being compressed by the weight of the barbell, so it's coming down into it, and you're going down, 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 it's all fine, and then it hits the box, and there's that little bit of compression there, and you know that's where you go, all right, now we're going to move in the other way. If the weight's too heavy or we're not prepared for the amount of force that's created, then it's that structure that feels it, that really sort of pays the price. So that is why after doing heavy box squats, some people will have lower back pain, and which is why I don't generally use the barbell to load it up and sit back into a box squat. You know, there is merit to it, but you need to be, there's a fair bit that has to come before that, before we get there. So other ways you can do it, which is absolutely fine, is if you use the tap and go method, and you're only using this as a depth marker. So you know how low you've got to go each time. It's just a light tap and then you're off again, which means that you sort of prepare for it, and then you can feel it in your hammies and everything like that as well afterwards. Whereas if you're just sitting straight into the box, and it does apply if you're using a goblet squat and a heavy dumbbell or something as well, or if we're just not bracing your core enough and you're just dropping into it and dropping out. So it doesn't need to be applicable to the barbell squat. If you're not bracing your core properly throughout the squat and you're doing this, the same thing's happening. You're hitting the box is putting that much force back up into you, and that's going to be felt usually in the spine. So that's what I want to look at. I just want to explain what's happening there with that technique, just to give you a bit of an idea of there's a simple change that we can make. You can still keep doing it, that's no problem at all. It's going to be a case of, all right, we need to make sure you're bracing properly for it, and that we're not upping the load too quickly, so this doesn't happen and you're not too sore afterwards. So let me know if that makes sense or not. I'm going to improve this setup so these sort of diagrams are a bit clearer in the future.